how to manage your money, because money is your problem. And the reason why I want to feel called to give this type of information, your problem, but yeah, sure, help you solve certain problems. Maybe I should put my glasses back on so I can see. That would be helpful. I'll take it off when I do my makeup. But look how juicy that is. Oh my gosh. But 1,000%, when you have more money, it solves problems. We're not confused about that, and we're not arguing that, right? We, as in me, we're not arguing that. What we're arguing against, though, is that that's the only thing you need. Because if you think about it, if you can't manage a $1,000 paycheck, what makes you think you're going to be able to manage a $2,000 paycheck, a $3,000 paycheck, a $5,000 paycheck? What literally has gotten to your delusional mind to tell you that that is going to make sense? It's not going to make sense. And you're going to realize it the more money you make. Now, I can speak from experience, because when I started making $10,000 a month, guess what happened? I didn't know how to manage money, because I was so completely infatuated with learning how to make money that I had made the money. And I was like, oh my gosh, making money is actually so easy. I understand how to make money. Wow. Oh my gosh. And then guess what? I didn't know how to manage it. So guess what it looks like? It looked like $0, because I didn't know how to manage it. And that happened for months and months and months. Solve your issue of your income, your lifestyle, and the way that you operate in life. If solved our, know what you're aiming for, right? However, once you hit a 5-figure month, which means 5 digits, 5 figures, 3 zeros, and then whatever the front number is. So $10,000 is 5 figures. 1 0 0 0 0, 5 figures, right? Once you hit your first 5-figure month, you're going to be excited, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I made the money. And then almost directly after you make the money, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. And then almost directly after you make the money, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, life that I want. And I keep losing money. And I don't know what is going on. The skills you need to have, a vehicle, which means like if you want to make $30,000 a month, you can't be working the job you have right now, making what you're making right now. Like, you have to change the vehicle, change the thing you're doing. So if you change it to entrepreneurship, your likelihood of making that amount of money is a lot higher, is what I'm trying to say. So if you're in the right vehicle for the money that you want to make, and it's possible to make the amount of money you want to make with the thing you're doing, right? So normally entrepreneurship. And then in addition to that, you have the skills that are going to help you to succeed in that thing, right? You have those two things together, you're going to make money. Money is not the hard part. The hard part is keeping the money. And that's why I think it's so important that people like myself who have made those 5-figure months but never saw the lifestyle that they wanted, it's because the money isn't the hard part. The money is the easiest part of it all. The hard part is actually managing the money so that you can learn how to manage, grow, and maintain the money that you're. And then you think that you're going 10 times as much, so 20,000 to your problems is to make more money. It's never going to work. It's not. Money can solve a lot of problems. Money solves most problems. But guess what? If you think that putting yourself in a cycle of, okay, well, my only solution is making more money, so I think I'll be fine. If you think that you're going to fix all your problems by only having the one solution of making more money, you are sadly mistaken. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have problems that can't be solved by money. And then you're also going to be so annoyed when you make enough money, but you still don't have the lifestyle you want. You'll be like, bro, I'm making $10,000 a month. Why am I still having to struggle with groceries? Why am I still struggling to pay off debt? Why am I still struggling to pay my bills? Why am I still struggling with my phone bill? You would think this is insane, but it's not. There's people who make six figures that I personally know who have to go get a part-time job to pay their bills because they don't know how to manage money. It doesn't matter how much money you make. Money is your problem. A more important problem, which is managing your money. Now, I love this topic because I can speak from how to manage money. I'm looking for my concealer. High income skill that even if you care about making income, you care about making money, what you actually, that's so ridiculous. I had to put on my glasses to find something that's literally right next to me because it's so tiny. But it's in your best interest to learn the actual skills of what people who have a lot of money do. It's actually in your best interest. So yes, you want to focus on making money. You want to focus on building your business, whatever. What's more important is learning the actual high income skill, the actual thing that moves the needle, the actual thing that makes people have a lot of income and keep it and keep their status, which is the money management. It's a high income skill and you should definitely focus a lot of your time on it. And so when I say focus your time on it, focus your time on it. I mean, that's literally what I talk about on this page. Focus your time on this, focus your time on that. So for this video specifically, I'm about to, for as long as it takes me to do my makeup, I'm about to just tell you everything it takes to learn how to manage your money. And you're probably like, oh my gosh, wow, great, thanks. Yes, but what I really want you to do is lock in and get a sheet of paper and a pen and actually watch this video and then come back and rewatch the video. I don't really need the views. I don't actually care about the views of you watching it twice and 3 times and 4 times. What I want you to do is actually get the information of how to manage your money. So number one, right? Because people say, you know, you need to do this action, you need to do this action, you need to do money management, you need to manage your money, you need to manage your money, you need to manage your money, right? But they don't actually tell you the actions. I'm about to tell you the actual practical things you do in your every single day real life, the actual things that you need to do with your money to learn how to manage it. And then once you manage it, you just do the same thing. Every paycheck you get, make the right decisions with the information I'm about to give you, and you iterate to your own self and your own life, whatever, okay? Number one, you need to understand the concept of money buckets. I'm actually so embarrassed to say that this took me so long to understand, because when you're thinking about money buckets or putting your money in certain places or spending from different accounts, right? Having your money come in through a paycheck through one account and then you have it go out to 8 different accounts and you spend it all these different places, it sounds so much more complicated than just spending your money from one place. Like, I'll have a bank account and then I'll swipe my card and that's it. I will have my bank account where money goes into. I'll swipe my card when I need gas and when I need food and when I need groceries and when I want to go with my friend and when I need concealer and when I need this and when I need that. I'm going to swipe my card from this one account, right? That sounds easier. I'm telling you the actual beliefs you need to actually be good with money. It's insane how long it took me to understand this stuff, right? And so if I can give it to you in a simple form without you having to watch 15 different YouTubers or 15 different books, this is really the information. So you need to understand the concept that is actually simpler. Okay, if you have a sheet of paper, which you should, write this down. It is simpler, right? And when I say write it down, if you are a person who feels like you're not good with money, you feel like you're not managing your money, you feel like you just need more money, you feel like you have a problem with money, I need you to write it down, okay? Because if you're watching this video, you probably are a person who's struggling with those things. So first of all, let me say this. Remove the arrogance of thinking that you know what you're doing with your money. Because if you're watching this video, that means you're looking for information on money management, right? Which means that there's something that you're going to learn in order to get better with money. So it's probably in your best interest to either not waste your time watching the video or to actually listen to what I'm saying and actually get the information out of it. Simple. So you need to understand the concept of money buckets. First belief, like I said, realize it is easier to spend from different accounts than it is to spend from one account. Point blank. The reason why it's easier is because what you have to do to have 8 accounts is you have to separate your money based on its purpose. And then you get to spend from these 8 different places or 5 different places, whatever. You get to spend from these different places, these different accounts, different checking accounts, different saving accounts, different debit card accounts, whatever the case is, right? You spend from all these different accounts and they already have their purpose attached to them. That is what you need to be doing. So that took me so long to learn, and I refused to do this information. I reworked my budget 45 times. I researched and read books on budgeting and information 50,000 times. I tried so many different things because I rejected when the millionaire, I'm not saying millionaire as in like airy fairy, I mean literal millionaires telling me multiple times to my face, you need to have different checking accounts, different saving accounts. Every time you get money, you get income, you get paid, you get your dividends, you get whatever income, put it into different accounts, right? They're telling me this. And I reject this information so much because I'm like, no, I'm smarter than you. And I'm going to do what I want with my money because I feel like I'm smart and I want to do what I want to do with my money because I'm going to do it because I want to do it my way. Okay. Well, that got you your result that you was getting. And then one day I was like, you know what? I've been hearing this information for so long. This is months later. I'm like, I've been hearing this information for so long. I still don't know what I'm doing wrong. Let me just try this. Like, I don't know. I literally don't know what's the purpose of having all these different accounts. Like, I get paid through social media. I get paid through doing freelancing. I get paid from dividends. I get paid from all these different areas. Like, this is going to be like so hard. And I rejected it so bad. Like, I'm saying that as in like, I was just like you. Like, I was literally sitting here like, it doesn't matter. Why would I need to spend from different accounts? I changed my life the day that I did that. So what I did is at the top of the month with the money I had in my account, my bank account, I was like, you know what? I'm going to split it up. I'm telling y'all, start with 100%, right? So before you start budgeting, call that your 100%. You're going to use 50% of it. These are maximum percent. Very important, I'm going to tell you. But mine's like 12%. I'm saying max 50%, okay? A maximum 50% for your bills. 12, no exceptions. You need to have 12% of your income for you. You go shopping. You go to the store and buy anything guiltlessly. You do whatever you want with that money. You go buy a pair of shoes with that 12%. You go shopping every day at the dollar store with that 12%. You do whatever you want with that 12%. That's what the 12% is for. The 12% is for you. Then you're going to have another 12%, which is for all your investing. Then you're going to have another 12%, which is for your savings. Okay? So what I'm telling you is you need to have different buckets of money for the whole 100%. So you can choose whatever, and also you can choose whatever you want. So you need to have 5 buckets, okay? One of them is for your bills, another bucket for yourself. Those are the 2 mandatories. And then you can have one for saving or investing or big purchases or whatever you want money for. You need to be honest with yourself. And that's the one thing I loved, is because when I was not telling myself the truth about what I wanted, it was so hard to be able to, when I wasn't telling myself the truth about what I wanted in life, it was so hard to do my budgeting, right? Because I'm like, well, I do want money for myself, but I don't have enough money for myself. What? How would you know that? Have you even done your budget in buckets to know that? Because now you're just talking out of the side of your neck. So you have to be honest with yourself and say, hey, what are my 4 additional buckets to my bills? Okay. my bills is one bucket, and then I get money for myself. Those are the mandatories. What are the other three? What are the other three? Okay, there's 50%, 12%, 12%, 12%, 12%, and there's a 2% buffer. Okay, 50 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 is 98. It's 2% buffer, which means that if something goes wrong or something costs too much money or da 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 da, then you have 2% in your budget, kind of just floating around, so you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. Now, this is a very important piece. The reason why you live paycheck to paycheck is not because you don't make enough money. It's because you spend every single dollar and you leave no buffer. I don't care what you do. Okay? I don't care what you do. What I need you to do is you need to have a buffer. Because what's going to happen is over the months, that 2% is going to add up. Okay, so let's just say 2% is $50 for your budget, right? For the amount of money you have as your total. Okay, well, month one is just going to be $50. But then you're like, dang, okay, I didn't spend that $50 last month. Now I'm going to add another $50. So now your buffer is $100. So each month it adds up. And that is what allows you to not live paycheck to paycheck. It is having a little bit amount of money that just kind of carries over every month and is small enough to where you don't notice it, small enough to where you don't really pay attention to it. That is literally the whole name of the game. People are talking about, oh, I got to make more money to be, I have to make more money to be able to manage my money, or I need more money. It's like, no, you actually just need to stop spending 100%, and you need to let a little bit kind of just fall through the cracks every month. And you're like, ooh, okay, now I got $200. How did that happen? Like a few months passed, I've been living my life, and now I have $200 just sitting here. Like, how did that happen? And then eventually that $200 is going to grow to $1,000. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually legitimately no longer living paycheck to paycheck now, because my paycheck is $1,000 and I have $1,000 just sitting. Every single paycheck, before I even get a paycheck, my account is sitting at $1,000. Oh my gosh, that's how you get out of living paycheck to paycheck, by the way. But anyways, moving on to the buckets, right? So you're going to pick 5 buckets, one of them being your bills, one of them being money for you, and then you're going to pick 3 more that you want to have money for. All right, and be truthful about it. Okay, now the other 2 things I was going to say is what everybody knows, and which this is why I didn't start with them, because everybody knows these, but nobody does them. Simple. Everybody knows them, but they don't do it, which is to increase your income, duh, and reduce your expenses, duh. But honestly, this takes a lot more work than people really think. It does take a lot of work to increase your income, and it also takes equally a lot of work to reduce your expenses, because you have to do a lot of research. And I think what people do is they try to reduce their income, or they try to increase their income and reduce their expenses, but then it becomes too much work, so they just give up. That's what I think. Because that's what almost happened to me, like, so many times. And it's just like, one day, you're going to be researching something, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh. This is like, oh my gosh, so much money can fill up. So much money can now be used for something else in my budget. I'm so glad that I found this one piece of whatever. So this can be for any bill that you have. This can be for your phone bill. This can be for your energy bill. This can be for your insert whatever bill. Who cares? It doesn't matter. The point is, you need to be increasing your income and reducing your expenses. Which one is more important? Which one should I focus on first? You need to be reducing your expensive, like your life depends on it, because it technically does. If you're not managing your money well, your life technically does depend on it. So fix that. Now, the other thing I'm going to say is, you're going to be like, okay, well, I have so many buckets. Like, once you start being honest with yourself, you're like, dang, I want to save, but I want to invest. And I only got 3 slots, right? Because my bills and my money for myself is mandatory. And if I remember, I'll tell you why that's mandatory. But the thing is, you have to, or I can tell you right now why it's mandatory. You need to have money for yourself, because it, number one, is going to make you want to make more money, so that you have more money to spend on yourself, when you're spending on yourself through guilt, what happens is you never actually track what you're spending, and then you just feel guilty about everything. When you mark out money for yourself before anything else, like you literally take the 100%, you do all your mathematics, and then you go and split it up into the accounts accordingly. When you do that and you have money set out for yourself, you don't have guilt spending because all of your spending is accounted for. You know how much you're going to spend on yourself, whether that's $200, $300, $400, whatever. That money is predetermined. There's no guilt in that. And that's where a lot of people go wrong, and why I say it's mandatory, because you absolutely need to be having money in your budget for yourself. Like it's almost like, oh, I should have done the concealer first. Oops. But basically, you need to absolutely 1000%. I do not care, right? You need 2000% be giving yourself money. Because if you're not giving yourself money, you still are giving yourself money. You're just feeling guilty about it because it's coming out of your grocery budget because you never accounted for money you want for yourself. There's not one month that you're going to say, oh, well, I want this and I want that and I want this and I want that, but I can't. There's not a month where you actually don't spend money on yourself. Everybody spends money on themselves, whether they like it or not. The problem is most people just don't tell themselves the truth about how much money they want to spend on themselves. And so you'll just, mark out a budget for yourself, and you'll say, okay, well, or you won't mark out a budget. You'll basically be like, you know what? I'm not going to spend on myself this month. Like, I'm going to save this money, da, 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 da. And then you end up being on Amazon because you need a new toothbrush. You end up being on Sephora because you need a new eyeshadow. You end up being on Sally Beauty Supply because you need some new nail polish. Like, people spend on themselves. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what delusion you're under. You spend on yourself because you're a human. So what I want you to do is start saying, you know what? I am a human. Whether I like it or not, I'm going to spend on myself. And because I'm going to spend on myself, whether I like it or not, I might as well start carving out money for that so that I can better manage my money and also get rid of all the guilt of guilt spending because I actually carved out this money before. Now, let's move on. The other thing is, should I save first or invest first? I have all these budgets of all these things or buckets of things that I want, and she's only letting me pick 3. Okay, well, I have debt, so I need a debt bucket so I can pay off my debt than just the minimums, right? So I need that debt bucket, which is going to be 12% minimum. So that's all your minimums plus whatever is left on top of that 12%. So let's say your 12% will equal $200 for your debt, and currently all your minimums equal out to $100. So you're just going to sprinkle a little bit on top of each so that it brings it up to $200. Cool, done, right? Okay, you have debt, so you want to have a debt budget or a debt section. Okay, then you want to save, okay, because you want to have money for later, and you want to have, we've already had a buffer, 2% buffers built in. So this is just money that you want to literally save for big expenses or save for car insurance if you save for that after paying off 5 figures of credit card debt, okay? What actually worked for me, paying off consumer credit card debt, was consolidating debt to someone could control. So let's say you have 5 figures of debt like I did. You're going to have a number to where you're like, oh, okay, I don't feel completely out of control. And this is all going to be based on you. I can't tell you what your number is. For me, I didn't even know my number. It just kept changing. I'm like, okay, what do I feel comfortable paying each month? Like, I just need to know, how to get this money down. I wasn't saving any money. I wasn't investing any money. I was fully focused on just throwing everything into my debt. Okay, so I had my money for myself, had my money for my bills, and then I was throwing everything else into my debt to get it to a controllable amount. Okay, cool. And that's based on you. So you might say at first, like, oh man, I need to get it down to 1,000. But then after 2 months, you're like, okay, wait, that's too much. I can't wait that long. So I'm actually just I feel more controllable if it is at 5,000. So you pay it down to 5,000 instead of all the way to 1,000. So you kind of just have to gauge, okay, like this makes me feel in control, right? Because at first, everybody wants to be extreme. You're like, okay, well, if I'm going to pay it down to 1,000, that makes me feel in control because you're starting with the big 5. So you feel like paying it down super low is the thing that's going to make you feel better. But that's not always the case. Sometimes paying it down halfway, paying it down 40% of the way is the thing that's going to make you feel good. So you have to literally know. You have to know yourself and be like, okay, I know that I was feeling dramatic at the beginning because, you know, I was just like ready to get rid of it. And but now I understand that I don't need to get rid of 100% of it or 90% of it. I actually feel good if I get rid of 40, and then I can move on to the next step. Okay, so first is you have your 2 required buckets, but you're going to spend everything else on getting your debt down. Now, if you don't have debt or you've already gotten it down, cool, let's move on to the next step. Literally, saving and investing. Those are going to be now you're going to add other buckets. So you're going to have your debt bucket, your investing bucket, and your saving bucket. 12% each, okay? Again, and now that you have less debt, you have more money to go into each bucket. And that's the beautiful part. It's because the more debt you pay off, the more money you have for everything else. Now you can actually spend more money on yourself because the debt is gone or the debt's getting lower. So the amount to pay gets lower or eventually it goes to zero. If you have $400 a month going to your debt each month, right? Eventually, that $400 a month is going to become free capital because you're going to get rid of your debt. Now you have more money for yourself, more money for your investments, more money for other buckets, or you can always change your buckets whenever you want to, right? So that's literally what you need to do to get good at personal finance. So is it pay off your debt first, or I literally washed my face. Clearly I did not clean the inside of my eyes. I look been burning my eye with my face wash lately, so that's probably why not, because I'm like, okay, I'm not putting that close to my eye anymore. Trade-offs, right? But anywho, it's not a matter of investing or not investing forever. It's more so like, okay, what am I going to do right now? What am I going to do that helps me right now? What am I going to do that, you know, pushes me forward right now? And that's kind of what you lean on. That's really what you just lean on, right? So in total, you need to have those buckets, and you need to also make sure that you have money for yourself. It's like almost a crime now, I think. You know, when you get good with money management, you start to say, you know what, it actually is a crime if I don't spend money on myself. It feels like an actual crime because it's just like, I'm going to put all my money to who for what when, like, I don't get what? I don't get anything? Like, there's no way. Like, how are you going to buy makeup? How are you going to buy clothes? How are you going to buy this? It's like, the point that I'm making is you're buying it anyways. Like, nobody's out here actually spending zero on themselves. Like, it doesn't exist. And so when you're honest with yourself about how much you actually spend on yourself, then you're able to actually make a big difference in your personal finance. So now I'm done with my makeup. I'm going to see you guys in my next video. And my whole point of this is to give value to people so that they can not have to go through what I went through trying to figure out how money actually works. So I'll see y'all in the next video.